Hello, it's Mark and Tara from Vintage Cellars, and it's our monthly beer club interview with the representative today is from Skylar from Red Lodge Brewing. Is that right? Red Lodge Ales, I guess is the name of the brewery, right? So we're gonna do a little talking with him and then taste through a bunch of his beers, and he'll tell us about them. So Skylar, maybe you could start with just what brought you to the beer business and the story of you to start with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm born and raised in Billings, Montana. Just kind of had a passion for beer growing up. Went attended college and worked for a distributing company. It's kind of how I ended up getting into the industry. Started by stocking shelves, loading trucks, doing the groundwork, doing the hard work. Ended up falling in love with a bunch of craft beer specifically, not just the domestics or the fruitier stuff. So just like craft beer. From there, knew that I wanted to start producing something and brewing. And so luckily enough, I was able to obtain the assistant cider maker position at Last Chance Cider Mill. And I brewed for 2.5 years, making the cider there, and then ended up moving into sales, which is what I do now.
Cool. Tell us the story of Red Lodge Ales, how long it's been around and who owns it and all that.
Family-owned business. Sam Hoffman, Lindsay Hoffman are the owners. Very great people. They're actually from the East Coast. They have a passion for making beer. That's kind of what brought them out here. The Adventure West and passion of pioneering and making quality beer. So in 1998 is when they opened the doors of Red Lodge Ales. Sam honestly just picked Red Lodge because there wasn't a brewery there, and he loved to ski and loved the mountains and ended up vacationing there all the time. And so he just picked Red Lodge as the place to settle down and open up the brewery.
Nice. And you guys have grown pretty large. It seems like you distribute statewide or even other states or what's.
Absolutely. So currently I'm the regional sales rep, and I cover North Dakota, all of Montana, and then part of Wyoming as well. So yep, we have quite a big area.
Wasn't there something on your website about that this is actually started pre-prohibition in Red Lodge? There was a brewery that was named this or something like that. In my way out there on that.
Yeah, I'm fairly new on that one, so I couldn't add anything for that fact, but yeah, you're probably not wrong.
Yeah, well, ask my wife. I don't know, sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we'll just head on into tasting some beer. The first one we opened is a Pilsner, right? No, a lager, I'm sorry. So this is the lager that we're.
Oh, perfect. Yep, the Oktoberfest. So that's one of our newest seasonals. Yep, absolutely.
Tell us about the story of that beer or the taste flavor profiles or whatever.
So Red Lodge Ales, we pride ourselves on IPAs, and then we come from a German background. So Sam likes to prioritize our beers based on German background. Our Pilsner is one of the most authentic Pilsners in the state. We actually ship all of our grain in from Germany. So it's imported on a freight load, and it's directly from Germany. That's kind of one of what separates us from the rest is we actually import some of our authentic Pilsner grain, which is also in our beer that you're currently drinking, the Oktoberfest. So that's like a German style amber lager, easy drinking, toasted caramel flavors, and with a smooth, easy drink and finish.
Yeah, I agree. It's easier to drink those in the summer, maybe, like we're kind of heading into darker beer weather. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. So this is like the transitional. So it's a sweeter amber to just help transition from all the IPAs and bitter palates and fruity stuff from the summertime, transitioning into these darker beers. It's something to kind of bridge the gap, so to speak. Absolutely.
You guys, speaking of that, because we're already seeing a shortage in Oktoberfest and pumpkin beers. Do you guys do a pumpkin beer at all, or?
So no, we stayed away from the pumpkin beer this year. I don't think we've ever produced a pumpkin beer. We kind of pride ourselves on the true Oktoberfest style and try and perfect that recipe. And then we also have a barrel-aged program that we have a very limited batch of, and we did 70 cases and like 2, maybe 5 kegs total of a barrel-aged Oktoberfest this year. And that's kind of what we put our time and energy to, rather than a pumpkin beer this year.
Do you have a lot of this Oktoberfest left, or?
Yeah, we actually did make 2 or 3 batches of this Oktoberfest. So yeah, we have quite a bit of it.
Yeah, we're already seeing a shortage from other places, so it's nice to know they could still get it through you guys.
Absolutely.
So move on to Checkmate, the Pilsner.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect. We were just talking about the grain that we ship for that one. This is one of my favorite beers, absolutely. Year round, it just is a tried and true kind of staple traditional Pilsner. Just a little more flavor than a domestic beer. obviously it's craft beer, but it's in that same drinker friendly profile.
And Checkmate must have some reference to the Czechoslovakian heritage of this beer.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. Little pun there and then just ran with it. Absolutely. Yep.
And what about flavor profile here? What are you thinking?
Oh, definitely just standard German style Pilsner. So as straightforward as it gets. Just typical Pilsner flavor, bold, full, all the way through, and a clean finish.
Little citrusy, it seems like to me too.
Yeah, absolutely. Just from the grain.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
You're not adding anything.
Nope, nothing else there. Yep. And just the hops, the Azika hops that we use is coming through a bit. Yep.
Nice. Hate to throw up beer, but we got a lot to go through. So.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's do the hello Hefeweizen.
Yeah, Helio. Yep, sun.
Helio.
Sorry,
I'm getting old. I can't really read it.
No, you're all good. A lot of people say hello. It's all good. Helio Hef.
Tell us about this one.
People tend to prefer either the Pilsner or our Hefeweizen. They're both very, light, easy drinking beers and just typical palates like either one way or the other. But this is a Hefeweizen, so just similar to a Blue Moon style type beer, paired well with an orange or a lemon. Definitely, a little flacculent, we call it, little haze to it. True Hefeweizen.
What is a Hefeweizen to you guys?
Full body.
Just wheat beer, is that what that is?
Yeah, correct. Yep. Just an unfiltered style wheat beer, exactly.
And is this a seasonal or is it?
Nope, that's a year-round beer for us. Absolutely. Yep.
I like your guide at the top with the campers or the fishing.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, our
Or
little wrap on
skiing.
there.
That's
Yep.
kind of fun.
Yep, skiing, camping, fishing, hiking. That's kind of what you do in Red Lodge. Absolutely.
Do you live in Red Lodge now, or
I don't. I actually currently live in Billings still. I could commute back and forth.
What is that? An hour trip or something?
Yep, 45 minutes on a good day in the wintertime. Yeah, solid hour.
Are you a good skier?
I am, absolutely. Yep.
I'm
Grew
not.
up for the last, I grew up playing hockey, so hockey is kind of in my blood. And so, yeah, skiing and skates kind of go hand in hand there. And just did it for 4 years, had a season pass at Bridger Bowl for, 6 years in total. And now I've been a season pass holder at Red Lodge for 3 years. So
It took you 6 years. It took you 6 years to get through college?
No, it took me 4.5 years to get through college. I just stayed another year and a half because I loved it up there.
Yeah, it is fun. It's a changing world though. Bozeman is becoming, man, it's crazy. I was just down there a couple months ago. The traffic is just like you're in California or something. So,
Absolutely.
how's Billings doing? Is it growing? And
it's great. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, they call it much more steady growth here in Billings. We don't get quite ebbs and flows as the crazy tourist markets like Bozeman and Missoula. So yeah, we're fortunate, but yeah, still housing's crazy and our market is definitely fluctuating more so than it normally does, just like everywhere else.
that's kind of the stick of Great Falls too. We've never really gone down, but never way up. Just kind of steady growth. We like
Call it the plateau here on the eastern side of the state. You bet. Jack's 90, perfect. Our Scottish ale. So yep, this is another year-round beer. This is kind of our version. Well, it's a Scottish ale, so a darker, malt-rich base beer. Yeah, This is the one style beer that I personally steer clear of. This is the one style that my taste buds just don't appreciate, unfortunately.
This
I
is
like
kind of
every other beer.
like the cold smoke and whatever.
Yeah, it's very similar to cold smoke coffee type flavor. Exactly. I'm not a coffee drinker, so just those are the notes. The coffee notes, the Scotch, the malt, the maltiness. Absolutely, darker beer.
Why Jack's 90?
So that's a good question. I think one of our old brewers had a dog named Jax, and then the 90 shilling is a German term for the beer. So it's a shilling. A 90 shilling is kind of the style beer that we were after, and so yeah, we named it a Jack's 90 for a dog that we appreciate, and then the old reference to a German style Scotch ale.
Yeah, every winery, every brewery that I've ever been to seems to have a dog involved in some way.
Yep, man's best friend, they say.
Right.
So one of those deals. Yeah.
Benton Ale, is that your number one seller, IPA?
That is definitely our number one seller. That is our tried and true staple IPA, and that is our flagship beer for sure. Yep.
Tell us about that. What are the hops in the story of that? How
So
long have you been making this one?
That is the original. That has been from 1998. That's kind of what put us on the map. So that's our original IPA. There's nothing too special about it, so that's kind of what made it our tried and true IPA, is that at the time everyone was coming out with these hazies and juicier and more crazy IPAs, and not a lot of people were making any traditional style IPAs anymore, and people were still looking for that. And so Bent Nail found a place in people's hearts because it's just the tried and true traditional IPA. There's nothing fancy about it. There's no crazy hops in it. There's nothing fancy. It's just Citra. It's a hop. There's Citra, there's Amarillo, and there's Azteca hops. There's 3 different hops in it, and that's all there is. It's just like any good IPA typically has 2 to 3 blends hops during the process, and that's what we do. No complicated malt complexes, nothing, no crazy grain belts. It's just your traditional IPA with kind of the elements and ingredients that you can find readily available.
What do you think of the IBU and all that? Those measuring
It's
units?
absolutely, yeah, it's like 60, I believe. It's like a 60 IBU. So it's just right in the middle of the road. That's kind of, you need some IBUs in an IPA to counter those hops. So it's just right in the middle of the road. It's in my opinion, one of the most traditional, straightforward IPAs you can get on the market.
Some of the brewers we talk to don't really believe in that whole system of measuring, or they think it's more subjective than just some number. But what's your thoughts on the whole process of IBU ratings and stuff?
IBU can be misleading, just like alcohol in general. It just is kind of like a culmination of what you have going on in the beer. So IBUs, it may scare people away seeing those heavy IBUs in double IPAs or just normal IPAs, but really it's needed to have a well-rounded beer. Like the body and the aroma and everything needs to come together. And so I don't know, that was something I used to shy away from, being an IPA guy. I was like, oh, I think I knew where I liked my IBUs to be. Like, I know that it needs to be between 40 and 60. But there are exceptions to that, where it sometimes needs to be lower and sometimes needs to be higher. And I still don't quite understand it, because there's so much, it's all the ingredients coming together that makes a difference. It just has to be in the wheelhouse of that 40 to even 80 IBUs is totally normal.
And what do you see on the IPA front? Are you guys selling as much as you always have? Is it declining, or is it going up? Or?
IPAs are still predominantly selling faster than any other beer. However, the lighter and fruitier stuff, like our Pilsner right now, is also rivaling. That's our second best seller in the beer world. So our Pilsner is climbing and approaching majority. I think more and more people, when they don't want to drink it domestic, they still want that still lighter kind of style. And so that's the closest thing to a Miller Lite or a Bud Light or any domestic beer is our Checkmate Pilsner. But as far as IPAs go, yeah, they're not really slowing down. They're just I guess the market's getting flooded with them. And so certain IPAs are slowing down. And that's kind of where we're happy with having our traditional IPA, because there's still a spot in the market for that. And we are releasing a year-round hazy IPA, which, like I was just saying, that we will have a hazy, a very, standard hazy IPA coming to market as well.
When's that coming to market? Sorry.
So it's been out before. It's kind of part of our seasonal rotators at the moment. But come November 1st, ideally, we will be releasing it as a year-round beer, and it will be available year-round.
Cool.
So we're doing this one now, the Bruno's Montana IPA.
Absolutely. So that's a staple for us at Red Lodge. So we partner with Apiary, kind of close by in Columbus, Montana. We get all our honey sourced from there, and we actually add it into the beer pre-fermentation. So all of the honey's fermented out. It helps get our gravity to where we like it. And then adds a little bit of sweetness, but it's a very subtle sweetness, because like I said, we ferment out all the honey. But other than that, it's just a very standard, easy drinking West Coast style IPA. That's why we call it the Montana IPA, just a West Coast summer honey IPA.
Nice. Yeah, it's fun. This seems to be a good food beer to me. If I was going to pair one of your beers, I think this would be a fun one to do cheeses or, kind of that genre.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, the
Appreciate
last
that.
one is the two-toed tropical. Sorry.
Yes.
I wonder why it's called that.
So I'm glad we did the two. So if you put up the Montana can and the tropical can, you can see that we have a bear and a sloth on there. And so in Zoo, Montana, in Billings, Montana, we have the zoo, and they have a Bruno the bear. We partnered with them way back when we made Bruno's IPA. We partnered with the zoo and did a promotion, and that's kind of where we named our beer after their bear that they had there. And recently this year, they just got a sloth, called the Two-Toed Hoffman Sloth, and Sam Hoffman, the owner of Red Lodge Ales, his last name's Hoffman, and his wife actually gave him, his character, if you will, or whatever, is a sloth around the house. So he ended up naming the beer after the Two-Toed Hoffman Sloth. It all worked out. And so we decided to, what kind of beer we wanted to put into it. We were going to do a lager, we were going to do this, we were going to do that. And we decided, no, let's make another IPA and let's maybe do something fun. And so we did a tropical IPA, and it's got 6 different hops. And I probably can find exactly which hops we have in it if you give me 1 second.
We had a friend, Greg Dozier, that used to work for Eagle, go down to Billings, I think last weekend, because he's always been interested in sloths. And so he wanted to go see a sloth. So his girlfriend bought him a ticket to the zoo, and she actually got to meet the sloth, I think, right?
Yeah, I think hold it even.
Hold it or something, I don't know. But
Perfect. And so, yes, I will get, so the hops we have in the beer are El Dorado, Mosaic, Azeka, Cascade, Calypso, and Lemon Drop. So we have like 6 different hops into this tropical IPA. And so it is a very thick, full-bodied IPA. And tell me what you guys think, because honestly, this is our first time we've ever brewed this beer. So getting as much feedback from it as possible is ideal right now.
I think on the front of the palate, I'm mostly a wine guy, but so
Okay.
I think it's very fruity and light. And then as it goes back over your mid palate into the finish, it turns dark on you, like almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that kind of what you guys think too?
So yeah, absolutely. And so like I said, this is our first batch of it. And so we're still refining the process, and we're still trying to have a little, we wanted it full bodied, but we definitely think it's a little thick in the middle there, like you're saying, when it turns dark and turns a little heavy. So we're trying to get the middle body of it to lighten out just a little bit without losing too much flavor. So
Yeah, a little
that's
bit.
what we're tinkering on. Absolutely.
It's got a long finish. I mean,
It does.
it's still lasting in your mouth right now. So
Absolutely. That's because there are 6 hops in there, and the hop
Right.
oils are very apparent there. Absolutely.
I
My,
think
my husband and I love tropical IPAs, and this is definitely as good as any of them out there in my mind.
Perfect.
But my
Sounds
dad, he's not a huge IPA fan, so we have different ideas on it, I guess. I like it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And this year, so that we partnered with the zoo again this year, and we sold 12 packs. There were 6 of the Bruno's IPA and 6 of the Two-Toed Tropical IPA in the pack. And we donated $1 of every pack sold back to the zoo this year.
nice.
So
Thank
that was
you.
kind of something fun we did. Yep.
So can you just talk to us like how you guys transitioned into cider and stuff?
Yeah, so that was just like the passion Sam had for making beer. He kind of saw an opening in, he kind of started looking at distilling. He looked at cideries, he looked at meaderies, he looked at different alcoholic manufacturing processes, and just decided that apples is something. He had a couple apples back home on the East Coast where he grew up from a child, and was like, hey, I'm going to start planting some apples and see if I can't make some apples and start pressing juice and fermenting it. And so that's kind of where the whole idea started, and ended up sourcing our apples from Oregon, Michigan, Washington, and Montana even, and just started making batches of cider.
And that's a
I'm-
separate facility. That's in Billings.
Correct. And that's in Billings. And that's kind of where I got into business with Sam, as I was working as an assistant cider maker. There was just the head brewer and myself making the whole 75,000 gallons of juice for the year, and canning and bottling and kegging and doing all of that. So yeah, it was absolutely quite a journey.
Yeah, for sure. Well, one of the questions I always like to ask is if you're not drinking beer or cider from your place, no, not even beer or cider. If you're not drinking beer or cider, what do you drink? Like wine or spirits, or what's your
Yeah,
favorite
I
next
like
drink?
I like whiskey, I like tequila, and then I like just normal sports drinks. I'm kind of very athletic and do a lot of leisurely hiking and biking and outdoors types activities. So yeah, staying hydrated is key.
I'm too old for that stuff.
Gotcha.
That might be the first time we've ever had that answer, actually. I like it.
Anything else you want to add, Skylar? Or are we all are good?
No, I mean, moving forward, we're gonna definitely have ever rotating seasons, more and more seasonals come out. And so I hope to bring more of that to you guys' market specifically. We have a reserve series is what it's called, where we just do small batches of just things our brewer likes to drink and things we like to drink. And we're trying to increase those batch sizes to be able to get those out to more markets.
Well, if you ever make it to Great Falls, we'd love to do food and beer pairing at some point or something. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
get
I've
up
seen
here,
your
we'll have
guys'
fun.
facility. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I'd love to take part in that.
yeah, be fun. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and it's been fun talking to you. And we'll sell some of your beer for sure.
Well, thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day, both of you. Take care.
All
You
right. You
too.
too.
Bye,
Bye.
thank you.